Hello book besties, welcome back to my channel. My name's Delaney. If you are new here, we are kicking off a week of reading. So it is Monday right now and we're gonna go through this week, just kind of a random reading vlog. My plan is just to mood read for the week because I was feeling a little bit slumpish sticking to my TBR. I picked up a couple books and I was like, this is not it right now, and I didn't want to force myself to read them and put myself in a slump. So we are reverting back to mood reading, and I have my TBR in mind, but we're definitely still going to be picking based on my mood. I'm currently in the middle of Reckless, and this is the fourth book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I did not like Flawless, the very first book in this series, but I have loved every book since, and this one is no exception. This has a trope that I normally really hate, and to see it done well, I'm questioning everything. I'm like, do I even hate that trope? Like, I don't know if it's a spoiler. Okay, it's on the back of the book, but if you don't want to know the trope, it's like a tiny spoiler. It happens really early in the book and it's on the blurb, so beware, skip this part. But it's an accidental pregnancy trope, and normally I don't like that in a book, but the way that both of them are handling it and like the circumstances, I am just falling in love with this man. Like, I normally get the ick with that trope, with typically how the man reacts to it, but he is like, I love him. His name is Theo and he has my whole heart. I also love the name Theo. Like, that is on my list of baby names that is living in the notes on my phone. Like, Theo is such a cute name. I just think it's so cute. I picture like a little kid with glasses. Ugh, I just think it's so cute. But that's the current update as of now. I am having like the Mondayest Monday that ever Mondayed. I'm so tired. Like, I feel like I could go to bed for the day and it's 10:40. Like, so tired. But that puts me in a good headspace for reading. So maybe I will do the bare minimum of what is needed for me at work today and then hopefully read some more. I'm like over halfway through this book, so I'm really hoping to finish it. I think I have like 200 pages left. So I'm thinking like today or tomorrow I will hopefully be able to finish this book. But in the meantime, sometimes I like read 2 books at once, which I know a lot of people like get on my case about. They're like, how the heck do you do that? My brain would be stressed out. I feel like it actually helps my brain stay calm. I don't know. Is that like an ADHD thing? I don't know. But reading 2 books at once feels, I don't know, comforting. I have options. Who doesn't love options, right? So if I choose to pick up another book, I'll probably start it on audio, because that is my one tip. If you're going to read 2 books at once, highly recommend different format, even ebook to a physical book. For some reason, it's easier in my brain to keep them separate and to keep them straight in my brain if I'm reading them in different formats. I don't really know why, but especially audio versus physical. So, and I tend to do different genres too. So like, I'm reading a romance right now. If I were to start a second book, it would probably be like a thriller or a fantasy, but who knows? Or even like a general fiction. I just can't have them be too similar or I will start messing up the details. However, that is all I have as of now. I have to get to a work meeting in like 17 minutes. So I'm gonna go pull myself together, get ready for that, as ready as I will be. And yeah, I'll touch base with you when I read more. I'm hoping to have like a somewhat chill afternoon. I'm done with work at like 4 p.m. today, so hopefully my evening can be relaxation and reading. So fingers crossed, and I will definitely update you when I have a reading update. Hello and happy Tuesday. I did not vlog anymore yesterday. I think I told you that I was having the Mondayest Monday, and I truly was. I was just so tired, and the second I was done with work, I had like nothing left in me. I just sat on my couch like a slug and did absolutely nothing, and it was glorious. It was everything I needed. But we're back and it's Tuesday, and I want to update you because I did make reading progress in 2 different books yesterday. So first, I need to update you on Reckless. I've actually been reading this already this morning. I woke up at like 7 a.m. and I was like, Reckless, I want to read Reckless. And you guys, I don't want to speak too soon, but I think this is a 5-star read. Like, I am loving this. And I thought Heartless with Willa and Cade, I thought book 2 in the series was going to be my favorite of the series. I didn't love this one when I started out because I didn't like Winter from the previous books. I didn't like Winter, but the more I read about her, she's so relatable. Like, she's grumpy and sassy when she's overstimulated and overwhelmed. That is me. She keeps people at a distance because she's afraid of being hurt. Also me. I'm just trauma dumping on the internet right now. I love her. Everything about her is so relatable, and she's just so complex and so beautiful. And Theo, you guys, he is everything. Everything. If you are an acts of service girl, Theo is going to be your ideal book boyfriend. Theo and Ryan from The Right Move, the second book in the Windy City series, are like the acts of service kings. And Justin from Just for the Summer. I feel like those 3 books are like acts of service through and through. Theo in this book has my entire heart. Like, he is on my list of book boyfriends. It is like Reich Meadows at the top forever and ever. BJ Ballantyne, Theo for sure, Evan Zanders, Ryan Shea. Oh my gosh, if you know, you know. These men, I just can't. I am in love with him. I think the reason I'm enjoying this series progressively more and more and more as it goes on is because they're starting to feel more and more like family. Like, as we're getting to know more of the characters in the circle, as we read like their individual books, I just feel like I'm a part of the Chestnut Springs family. Like, I just love them, and I feel like I know all of them so deeply because I've read like a rather thick book on each of them individually by this point. Like, I just am so in love, and I'm excited for Beau's book. I'm curious to see how that wraps up. I don't even know who the girl is in that book. I guess we'll find out. But right now, I think this might be my favorite in the series, and as of now, I am getting that 5-star feeling. So we'll see how that finishes. I'm on page 366 and there is 434. So I'm like pretty close. Like, I'm getting there. Oh, I just love this so much. But my other update is I started listening to The Vanishing Half, and I was really excited about this book. First of all, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I think I got this from Destiny Sidwell, and I just love her. She is like the book queen. Her and Sarah are just like my book queens. And I love all her recommendations. So Tara DeWitt, the author, actually sent me this off my wish list, which was super duper sweet of her. And so the second I got this, I was like, ooh, that has to be bumped up on my TBR because I'm so excited to read this. I'm not loving it. Granted, I'm only like 25% of the way through. I'm on chapter 5, and like that's a significant part of the book. Chapter 5, page 114. So the chapters are long, which that right there is difficult for me. So we have long chapters, and we also have a third person point of view, which I don't like. I think maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I'm not a third person POV person. I don't like it. I like first person alternating points of view, like chef's kiss. That's what I have in Chestnut Springs, and it is everything. I love that. But this, I feel like the long chapters, the third person, and then I feel like we're doing a ton of time hopping. Like, we have the years labeled, like each section is like a different decade basically, but within the decade we're jumping so far back, like generations back, and then we're jumping to the present, and then we're jumping another generation back, and it's like I'm just having a hard time keeping up right now. And there's also a lot of characters. I think there's just a lot going on in this book mixed with long chapters, third person. I'm just not really into it. So I think this is a good one to listen to, because when I'm struggling to get into a book, listening to it usually helps. So I'm glad I'm listening to it. But as of now, a little bit disappointed for this one, honestly, which is a bummer. However, I feel like this is a vibe. Like, my nails match the green, my sweatshirt matches the pink. Twins, we're twinning, that's a good sign. Maybe today is my lucky day for reading some of this book and starting to enjoy it. As of now, I am not enjoying my time, but that is my update. As of now, we have a potential 5-star read and a book that I'm not really enjoying, but hopefully this one will turn around. As of now, I'm thinking like 2 or 3 stars, but we have lots of book left for it to still win me over, so we'll see. Also, I have so many beautiful bookmarks, and I'm using the price tag from a plant that my mom bought me to mark my spot in my book. Sweet. All right, y'all, that's the update as of now. I have to get to some work meetings. I'm gonna film some TikToks, do all that jazz, and I will update you later. I'm hoping to finish this ASAP. I'm like in between the gaps in my meetings today. I want to like be reading as much as I can. It's getting so good, but I had to stop reading because I have stuff to do. But oh, I'm just obsessed. I am loving this so much. I will update you soon, I promise. I mean it this time. I will actually update you today. it's time to get caught up. Ignore the chaos and the mess behind me. I have like an empty package bag. My dog's toys are thrown everywhere. But we have to catch up because I just finished Reckless by Elsie Silver. I am in love with this book. You know, this book combines three-ish tropes that I don't like. And there's a mild spoiler, so if you don't want to hear the spoiler, skip forward like 15 seconds. It's not a spoiler because it's on the back of the book, but like very mild. There is accidental pregnancy, enemies to lovers, and reverse grumpy sunshine. And those three tropes are three of my least favorite. Not necessarily reverse grumpy sunshine, but grumpy sunshine in general. And I think this is a 5-star read, you guys. Like, Elsie Silver is pure magic for that. How do you write a book with all the tropes that I don't like and it's going to be a 5-star read? You're magic. Like, you're absolutely magic. It made me question if I actually don't like the tropes or if they just haven't been done well in books that I've read. Specifically, the one that is like the mild spoiler. I've read very few books with that trope and I just feel like it wasn't done well. But this, like, oh my gosh. I am Winter. Like, the way that she's like snippy and sassy a little bit and like gets misinterpreted as being rude when she's really just like super overwhelmed and super overstimulated. Like, when I get super anxious and like too much is going on, I shut down. And like my shutdown is either like frustrated tears or just like being kind of snippy and like not on purpose, not trying to be rude, but just like very curt and like to the point. I am Winter. Like, I totally relate. And Theo is an absolute angel of a human. I adore him. I didn't think I could love anyone any more than Daddy Cade. And then Jasper came along and I was like, ooh, I think I love him almost as much as I love Daddy Cade. And now Theo, and I'm like, I don't like the first book. I don't like Rhett. Summer is okay. I like Summer more in this book. But the rest that I've read so far, I'm obsessed with them. And I'm curious now, because the 5th book is Beau's book. So I'm curious if I'm going to fall in love with him too. Because he hasn't really been a huge role, to be totally honest. Like, I mean, he's been kind of like a background role. He was like talked about a lot in the last book, Jasper and Sloane's book. But I feel like we get very little bits of Beau, so I feel like I'm going into this book with the least knowledge of him. But I'm excited. I don't even know who the female love interest is in the next book. I think it's Hopeless is the title, right? Yes, Hopeless is the 5th and final book in the Chestnut Spring series, and then I've officially finished the series, which is crazy and a little bit sad, honestly. It's kind of bittersweet because I love the Chestnut Springs family. I want to move there. And then update on the Vanishing Half. I have listened to another chapter of it and I'm trying so hard to not DNF this book. I am just like not into it. I'm not into it. And there's so many books on my TBR that I'm really excited to read, but I want to finish this. This is so silly and so trivial. But in my reading journal, I have an A to Z reading challenge. I need a V. And like, how often, like, I'm not going to reread Verity. What else could I do? You see the dilemma. So I'm like almost halfway through. I'm at like 37% or something, 40%, something like that. So I might try to push through and just like see if it gets better. But as of now, it's like a potential soft DNF. I'm just really not enjoying my time. But yes, that's where I'm at. I just got the audiobook for Caravel and The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult. Jodi Picoult is one of my favorite authors. So I have the audiobooks for both of those that just came in on hold at the library. I also have like a lot of physical copies on hold at the library. I'm a little bit overwhelmed with my library stock right now. I feel like everything kind of flooded in all at once and I was like, whoa. Plus we have new releases coming out and all the things. So I don't know where I'll go next. I think I'm definitely going to pick up another book tonight. I'm in very much a reading mood, so maybe I'll jump into Hopeless and just crank out the Chestnut Spring series. Maybe I'll do a different book. Maybe I'll start the physical copy of The Storyteller and then I have the audio for backup. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to check my monthly TBR, which I messed up. I put 1,000 Broken Pieces on my June TBR because it was supposed to come out June 11th. I swear. I don't know where I got this date, but in my mind, it was June 11th. 1,000 Broken Pieces was coming out. Now it doesn't come out until July, and I put it on my June TBR, so obviously that's not gonna get read. Also, The Housemaid is Watching was on my June TBR, but that is our July Patreon book club pick. So if you are reading the Housemaid series and have read Housemaid is Watching or are going to read Housemaid is Watching, please join our Patreon. It is always linked down below, and there's a free option and some paid options for some bonus content, but you should definitely join the discussion for Housemaid because I'm very excited to read that and talk about that. But all that to say, I don't know where I'm going from here, but I definitely want to pick up another book. I feel like this book made me fall back in love with reading physical copies. I was very much on my audio and Kindle game, and then I read the physical copy of this book, and like it was so good that now I just want to like hold a book and like flip through. And there's something about like seeing how far you're in a book and like I don't know, something about a physical book. I just call me old school, but I'm just kidding. But that's the update as of now. I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna go make some dinner, maybe a shower, wash my face, that type of thing, put some PJs on, as if I'm not already in my PJs. I live in my PJs. But yes, that's the agenda. I don't know, maybe I'll talk to you again tonight, but if not, I'll definitely update you tomorrow on what I decided to pick up and if I've made any further decisions on this guy right here. But yes, Reckless, maybe I need to think on it, but right now I think it's a 5-star. It gave me that feeling. I need to just run with it. When you get the 5-star feeling, you don't question it, okay? Amazing. I love this. Hello, besties. I am back with a little bit of an update. I just got back from the library, so I'm excited about some of the new books that I picked up. And I started a new romance book. I know last time I talked, I was not sure what I was going to start after Reckless because my heart was just so with those characters that I was like, how do I even move on from here? I had a little minor book hangover because I didn't know what to pick up after. So I opted to just continue within the same series, and I picked up Hopeless. This is the 5th and final book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I'm not emotionally prepared to say goodbye to these characters. But I started this book last night and I flew through the first like 100 pages, and then I read a little bit this morning, so I'm on page 120 right now. I am not loving either of our main characters as of now. I feel like there's a big emphasis on sexuality from the get-go, where I feel like most of the Chestnut Spring series, aside from Flawless, which is the first book that I didn't really enjoy, I feel like most of them build up a really solid foundation of romance, and then there's definitely a lot of spice in the books, but it feels like the foundation of romance is built first, and I feel like the sexual tension almost became the forefront of their relationship building, where like they didn't really have anything established before the sexual tension. It felt like that came first, when I like it better in reverse order. I like a little bit of romance and tension before we go into anything like sexual, you know what I mean? Even Winter and Theo, like, it was very, very quick in their book, but they still had like an interaction. I don't know. I just felt like it was instantly man sees woman, woman sees man, and like they're talking about the other's body and like their physical appearance with no deeper connection established. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I am only like 100 pages in, like I said, and I think it's like 400 and something pages. Yeah, like 430 or something. So we still have a ways to go with this one, but I did end up starting that last night and continued this morning. These books are just easy to read. I just love Elsie Silver's writing. And then last time we talked, I was also listening to The Vanishing Half. I'm trying so hard, you guys. I've tried the ebook, I've tried the physical book, I've tried the audiobook. I'm trying so hard, and I think I'm going to have to soft DNF this book, meaning I will return to it, but not this week, like not right now. I'm just not jiving. I'm not feeling it. I just feel like I'm not engaged in the story. I don't know if my brain isn't like prepared for this heavy of a story, this deep of a story. I'm just feeling bored, and it's like, I know there's so much going on, and I know there's so many layers, and like there's no reason for me to feel bored. So I'm thinking maybe I'm just not in the headspace for it. So I want to DNF so I can actually give this a fair shot when I'm in a better mindset for it. However, I did pick up Under the Whispering Door from the library, and I'm loving this. I already started it, and I'm on chapter 5, I believe, almost to chapter 6. So page like 60. And I'm really enjoying this book. Again, if you follow me, you know a little bit about my grief journey, but I've been really enjoying consuming books that talk about grief and death and life and that type of thing. I know sometimes it's like sensitive for people when they're going through it to read about it. For me personally, in my journey, I found it to be a little bit comforting to feel seen and heard and understood. So I'm really enjoying this book a lot. I'm not so far into it, but like I'm really enjoying it. I feel like I'm gonna really love this. So that's the current update. Started Hopeless, gonna finish the Chestnut Spring series, about 120 pages in. Soft DNFing the Vanishing Half because I think it's a me problem and I'm not in the mindset for it. So I want to give it a shot when I'm in a better mindset. And I started Under the Whispering Door and I'm really enjoying it. And if you're in my Patreon, my book club, which you should be, you saw I posted in the like random bookish group chat my library haul, and I also got When Breath Becomes Air. Very similar, another kind of book about grief and life and death and all of that. So I'm really excited for this. I almost feel like it's a memoir-ish. I don't entirely know what it is, but I've heard really phenomenal things about it, so I'm very excited for that. However, I'm in the middle of 2 books right now, so I can't add another to my plate. So this is being added to the TBR, but we're not starting it quite yet. Also, if you're noticing, I think I wore this sweatshirt yesterday or the day before. I can't remember when I wore this last. I did wash it, I promise. I'm just absolutely obsessed with it. It says book lover and I love it so much. I posted this on my TikTok. I got it from TikTok Shop. I love TikTok Shop. It gets me every time. But that is all for now. I have a couple of like little busy work tasks to get done, like just little things. And then I'm going out to dinner with my family tonight. So I am not sure when I'll update again. Hopefully I'll have some time to sit and read either before I go or after I'm back tonight. I don't know how long I'll be out. I don't really know the plan, but we shall see. I will definitely update you if I have an update. All right, we have a couple of updates. It is currently Friday. I don't think I filmed at all yesterday. I believe I filmed Wednesday. I don't really remember. I don't think I filmed yesterday. If you just watched a clip from yesterday and now I'm here saying this and I look like an idiot, but I don't even remember what I did yesterday. Oh, no, I didn't film yesterday. I woke up really early and I went to volunteer at an animal shelter and I was exhausted all day long, like exhausted. I went to Target with my mom and my sister and I was like, you guys have to take me home. I'm gonna have to go to bed. Like I'm so wiped out. But I did make a lot of progress reading. I read a lot last night and then I woke up really early this morning for some reason. I was up at like 5:30 and I finished Hopeless. So I finally have finished the entire Chestnut Spring series, which is heartbreaking. It's satisfying and gratifying when you finish a series, but it's also like grief in a way. Like I'm so sad that I no longer get to attend Eaton family dinners. Like the fact that they're gone and they're over, it makes me so sad. I, as a whole, really loved this series and I almost didn't continue it because I didn't like book one. Book one to this day is my least favorite in the series and I did not enjoy it, and I almost didn't read book two because I was like, if this is all the hype for Chestnut Springs and this is how I'm enjoying it, like why would I put myself through that? Like why would I waste my time reading it? Oh my gosh, the tragedy that would be if I didn't give this series a shot. I love it. Every book from book one forward has been 4 or 5 stars for me. I just did an entire ranking video on my TikTok, but I can do one here too. Okay, so now that we've finished Hopeless, I will talk about Hopeless, but I think it'd be fun to kind of go through the Chestnut Spring series. My least favorite is Flawless. This has to be number 5. I just didn't enjoy this series. Almost made me not continue the series. To this day, I think Rhett is my least favorite main character from any of the books, and I think that is a big part of why I didn't really enjoy this one. So number 5. Number 4 actually is Hopeless, the last book in the series, the one I just finished, and we could talk about this now. I don't know. I expected the last book in the series, as usual, to be like super emotional because you're saying goodbye to characters you love. Like it feels like the closing of a chapter, like no pun intended, but I just didn't get that. I am sad to say goodbye to the characters and I am sad that like the series is over, but I feel like I wanted a better closing. I don't know. I feel like there could have been a better closing to the entire Chestnut Spring series as a whole. Maybe I was just let down because the closing was very centered on this couple, Bo and Bailey, and I didn't really like either one of them. Bo, we meet throughout the first books. He's like the brother that is a soldier. And then Bailey is pretty new to us. Like we might have gotten glimpses of her. I barely remembered her at all. So her character was pretty new to me. I didn't love either of them. I didn't love their romance. I didn't love big chunks of this book. It felt like there was so much emphasis on Bailey being sexually inexperienced and Bo being like very experienced. It just like felt like that was 45% of the book. And like that's fine and that's cute because that's the trope. But it felt like it took up too much time and too much of a focal point. This book is strange because it felt like a slow burn and insta-love at the same time. Does that make sense? If you've read this, I don't know if that will make any sense. I don't know if I'm the only one that felt like that, but it felt like a mashup of insta-love and slow burn, which like are not the same thing at all, but somehow this felt like both. I don't know, these just weren't my favorite characters. They are down there with Rhett towards the bottom. I just didn't feel connected to them, not even close to the way I felt connected to the characters in my top 3 books. So if we're to give like context to my ranking, I would say Hopeless and Flawless are very close together at the bottom, and then the other 3 books are significantly higher than them, but all really close together, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes any sense or you care at all, but this is my 4th favorite, and this is the last and final book, the one I just finished. And coming in at 3rd, we have book 3, which is Powerless. This is Jasper and Sloane, childhood friends to lovers, hockey romance, and I expected to love this one. I am a sucker for a good childhood friends to lovers romance, and I just love this. I love Jasper, I love Sloane. It's just wonderful. I love this. Then coming in at number 2, I have Reckless. This is the 2nd book in the series, so number 2 and number 2 again. But I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I didn't expect to, because Grumpy Sunshine is one of my least favorite tropes. I typically really despise super like ultra grumpy men, and I'm also not a huge fan of single dad nanny trope, and that's what this book is. But I ate this up. Daddy Cade has my whole heart. Even more so, Willa is one of my favorite female main characters of all time. She is what made this book like truly exceptional for me. I just love her. This was a 4.5 star for me. I adore this book. Then coming in at first place, the only book that got 5 stars in this series, Reckless. I adore this, and this is another one I did not expect to like this book. Theo, the male main character in this book, feels kind of like removed a little bit from the Chestnut Springs brothers. Like he just felt like kind of the odd one out, and I was like, I don't know if I'll really connect to him. Wasn't sure how I would feel about that. Winter, our male main character, is Summer's sister, Summer from the first book, and I hated Winter. Like the way that she was portrayed, I did not like her at all. And the tropes in this book, if you know, you know, are not my favorite tropes. Like tropes I actively dislike. And so I went into this like, I'm just gonna read it, like we'll get through it and whatever, maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit. I was blown away. Blown away. Elsie Silver is magic for that. I think I already talked about this book in this video. Oh my gosh, I definitely read this book in this video already. Goodbye. You know my thoughts on this. Bye. Anywho, that's the update. I finished Hopeless and I finished the Chestnut Springs series, and I am working my way through Under the Whispering Door, and this feels like, hear me out, this feels like the adult version of a book that I would have ate up in elementary school. Like I would have checked out from the library. Think like Magic Treehouse vibes, like a series that when an elementary school kid gets hooked on it, like they fly through it. I don't know what it is, but this is giving the vibes of like a book series I would have loved when I was like 8 years old, but the grown-up version. Probably makes no sense, probably has no logic behind it, but I am enjoying it, and I'm feeling like it's getting a little bit slow, and the chapters are so dang long. I just like really struggle with long chapters, and the pages are like very wordy. Like the paragraph breakings are very sparse. I feel like we have big chunky paragraphs, and that's difficult for me like formatting wise to read it like that, but we're getting through it, we're doing it, and I am enjoying it. It's just kind of hitting a little bit of a lull, like a little bit of a slow point. But that is my update as of now. We're still really early in Friday. It's only noon, so I ordered new bookshelves. Well, not new, another bookshelf from Target. So I have to go pick up my Target order, and I think I'm done with work for the week. I hope. But that means more reading is to come. So hopefully I can get through a good chunk of Under the Whispering Door, because I'm like slowly but surely working my way through this one. It's just not one I'm like jonesing to pick up, which is fine. That's fine for now. But that's where we're at. And yeah, I think I'll update you hopefully later today. If not, I'll definitely see you tomorrow for a little reading update. Hi guys, I'm having a hard time. I don't know what to read. I just finished Chestnut Springs like not that long ago, and I want like another romance. I'm really in a romance mood lately. I think that's why I've DNF'd The Vanishing Half, and why Under the Whispering Door like just isn't jiving with me. I just want another romance. I don't know if I go into Wild Love, Elsie Silver, and I keep on my Elsie Silver kick. I don't know if I do a standalone romance. I don't know if I attempt to start Boys of Tommen and start with Binding 13. My thoughts, I'm thinking maybe What I Should Have Said by Max Monroe. I got an arc of this. The reason I'm like not sure is I got an arc and the formatting's a little strange. Like the spacing is just kind of wonky in this one. Sounds like Grumpy Sunshine, Runaway Bride, Enemies to Lovers, Strangers to Friend, Dark Secrets, Summer. It's set in the summer, so maybe that's a good one. I'm also considering Wedding Issues. I also have Out on a Limb, which I've heard phenomenal things about. I have Savor It, Tara DeWitt's new release, which is another summer romance. Maybe I'll read this because it's summery. Also have Here for the Cake, which I wanted to read last month? This month? What month did you guys pick my TBR? I think it was this month that you picked my TBR, and this was one of the options and it didn't win, but I really want to read it, so I feel like maybe it's a good time to bust out some of the like summery standalone romances before I go into Boys of Tommen. I really want to read Wild Love too. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Do I keep in like the Elsie Silver universe or do I stray and do some standalones? I'm having the hardest time. This is the hardest time. Does anyone else spend like forever trying to decide on their next read? Like I could be halfway through a book by now, but I've just been sitting here staring at my books. Do I want a thriller? Maybe I want a thriller. And I want to read The Summer Pact. Oh no. What should I read, you guys? Small World, Coastal Town of Oregon. Wait, are we in New York or are we Oregon? Oh, we're in small town Oregon in the summer. Okay, I think Elsie Silver's quoted on the back. That feels like a sign. I think I'm gonna read this. I don't know what to do, you guys. I'm gonna potentially read this. You'll see in the next clip. I'm really having a tough time. Hello, I have lots of updates since we last talked. Last, I think I finished Hopeless and I was in the middle of Under the Whispering Door, and I have 3 finished books I need to talk to you about and 1 book that I have started and I'm just beginning now, but we're gonna do kind of like a little recap here and I'm gonna tell you about the books and get you caught up because I flew through cover to cover 2 books in the last 2 days. Shouldn't say like cover to cover. I listened to them. I listened to them in their entirety. The audiobook. I've been really into painting, so I feel like while I'm painting, listening to an audiobook is just the perfect activity to do with it, and I can fly through the books because I get lost for hours while I'm painting and it works really well. First, I feel like I should catch you up on Under the Whispering Door. I talked about this last time I touched base, and I think I was saying it felt like the adult version of a book I would be obsessed with when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and that still feels true, and I feel like I was just underwhelmed by this book. I heard really phenomenal things about it, and like in particular for anyone that has experienced grief, and so I was expecting this book to be really impactful and really deep and really wonderful, and maybe I went in with the wrong expectations because this was more like whimsical fantasy. It just felt kind of young at times. I don't really know. I just feel like it was very slow and it was kind of boring. It just lost me. Very dialogue heavy, very long chapters, not a ton of plot going on in my opinion. And I feel like those combos just like made it feel super slow because it felt like really nothing was going on. And just when chapters are super long, the book feels slower to me. I know that's a little bit weird, but it does. Long chapters impact me. So I wasn't wowed, but I did enjoy it. I think I'm going to give this a 3-star rating, meaning like it was good. I would recommend it in certain circumstances, but it's not a book that will be on my mind like months or years from now. Then the book I listened to in its entirety while I was painting last night is When Breath Becomes Air. This is kind of like a memoir style, and I love listening to memoirs, even though the author of this obviously didn't narrate the memoir because he has passed away. This book was so touching to listen to, and like this is about a neurosurgeon who gets diagnosed with cancer. I think he's in his 30s. He's very, very young, and him like exploring his diagnosis and like life after that, and how do you make life meaningful, and what's the meaning of life, and like when is a life worthy of being lived, and when is it time to call it quits? Like so many questions. He like compiles his work as a neurosurgeon and his research and everything he knows with now his lived experience kind of on the other side of it. Or like as a doctor, he's used to giving patients really bad news, but now he's the patient in the setting, and just kind of the role reversal and the flip there, like how he's navigating that. This book was really, really touching. I don't rate nonfiction, but in particular memoirs and poetry, I just don't give a rating to because it feels wrong to give a star rating to someone's lived experience. But I will say this book was beautiful and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is very short. Like you can definitely fly through this in like 1 or 2 sittings. Just really amazing. Then today I listened to a thriller in its entirety, and that is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. Geneva Rose is also the author of The Perfect Marriage, which is a thriller that I thought was good, but a little bit underwhelming. And I would say the same for this one. I just wasn't wowed. This thriller was weird because the first part of it almost read like a romance novel. It almost felt like I was reading a small town romance, while simultaneously being very aware that I'm reading a thriller. So it felt eerie because I'm like, this feels kind of like a small town romance with little sprinklings of like weird stuff going on. So the buildup was there, but what wasn't there was the shock factor that we were building up to. So it felt like we did a really great job building up, and then like the twists and the thriller elements just like didn't exist for me. It just wasn't wowing me. It didn't have like that page turner, oh my gosh, like the thriller feeling. It's just kind of a bummer. This is basically about a city girl, I believe, who escapes to an Airbnb in Wyoming and forms kind of a love connection with the owner of the Airbnb. But he's suspicious, his brother is suspicious, she starts acting weird, everyone starts acting weird. He becomes really obsessed with her. She's like kind of trying to leave, but her car breaks down. Like there's just so many elements here. It sounded good to me, but it just didn't fully follow through with what I was expecting. I'm torn between a 2 and a 3 star for this one. I might settle on a 2.5 star rating. It wasn't great in my opinion. In my personal opinion, wasn't a favorite. However, I will say, Under the Whispering Door, When Breath Becomes Air, and You Shouldn't Have Come Here, all 3 of those can check off some of the hardest letters in my A to Z reading challenge that I have in my reading journal. If you're in my Patreon, my book club, you like have seen all the pages of my reading journal, and you guys have been giving me suggestions for like that last row, the U to Z. It's just so hard to find books that start with those letters, but I just checked off U, W, and Y. So now I need V, Z, and X. Oh gosh, X? I wonder if there's like Xmas or like something I could read around the holidays. I don't know. If you have suggestions for X, V, or Z, please let me know, because that's going to be very difficult. Oh, and then the book that I started, I actually ended up starting What I Should Have Said. I know I was really debating back and forth. I was gonna do Savor It, Tara DeWitt's new release, but I decided to save that one for when the weather was a little bit nicer. We have like a really rainy day. So I was like, I'm just gonna pick up something that feels easy to read and fun and fluffy. So I picked up What I Should Have Said. I can already tell you this is not going to be an easy to read, fun, and fluffy book. This is heavy. This is going to be emotional. And I know I was commenting about how the formatting was weird, like it was an arc, and so the formatting spacing, it's almost like it's double spaced. I learned that's not because it's an arc at all, that's just how the book is, because I downloaded it it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I downloaded it on my Kindle, and there is like double spacing on Kindle Unlimited as well. So it's just the spacing of this book, which is totally fine. I'm like a third of the way through about. So I'm reading this on my Kindle right now, but I also have the physical copy, so I will fill you in on that. But I think we're gonna wrap up this weekly reading vlog here. It is only Saturday, but tomorrow's Father's Day, and I'm gonna be spending the day with my dad and with my family, so I probably won't be reading and I will not be vlogging, so I think we're safe to wrap it up here. But that was a good week of reading. We did Reckless, Hopeless, Under the Whispering Door, When Breath Becomes Air, and You Shouldn't Have Come Here. We have really like a wide variety of genres. 2 romances and finished a series, a fantasy fiction, a memoir, and a thriller. I feel like mood reading went really well. We really covered kind of all our bases here. But I do think we're going to wrap up here. So make sure you join my Patreon, join the book club. It is always down below in the description box. Also follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Goodreads, all the things, and make sure you're subscribed here so you don't miss any future videos. I will catch you in the next one. Bye, book besties.